Цель сегодняшнего мероприятия – познакомить вас с опытом наших других системных партнеров сетевого центра. Это католический университет Лёвен и Центр трансфера технологий при этом университете, директором по развитию которого является Мартина Хинуля, присутствующий здесь. Он не знает, его учредитель. Just saying frame. Сеть наноцентров уже довольно-таки давно работает с этим регионом, как системным партнером, и выполняет какие-то проекты совместные, участвует в них. Ульяновск был вовлечен до недавнего времени в эту деятельность сравнительно меньше, не очень глубоко, но сейчас включается очень активно. Мы уже, например, вошли в один из проектов, который делается в этой территории, это Alliance, и продолжаем наши действия по запуску других совместных проектов. После визита губернатора в Лёвен и Айндховен, в эту территорию, который состоялся несколько месяцев назад, мы по нашему предложению и ответному приглашению губернатора пригласили сюда Мартина. И Мартин за неделю, в которой он здесь находится, с воскресенья, посмотрел очень много. У нас было порядка, наверное, 30 или 40 встреч. Это университеты, региональные предприниматели традиционные, региональные предприниматели в IT, владельцы IT-компаний, блок развития в правительстве, портовая зона, особая экономическая зона, индустриальный парк Заволжье, корпорация развития, собственно, правительство. Вчера вечером была встреча с губернатором, мы закрепили наше сотрудничество на уровне первых лиц, по сути, на уровне всех лиц, которые отвечают за эту деятельность. Цель нашего взаимодействия очень простая. Это кооперация, совместные проекты, новые бизнесы, которые мы вместе будем запускать здесь, в территории, как часть более больших проектов между нами, сетью наноцентров и Лёвен. Наверное, это основное. Позвольте мне представить Мартина Хинуля. Мартин Хинуль, хороший друг сети наноцентров и партнер, директор по развитию бизнеса, Центр трансфера технологий, католического университета Лёвен. My introduction in Russian. So please, it's your turn.
Thank you very much
for
the introduction. I didn't know what you were telling about me, but I accept that it was great. I have to apologize. My Russian is still zero. I'm coming now to this country for 4 or 5 years. I came first at the request of Mr. Vekselberg, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows Mr. Vekselberg. He came to see me in Leuven, and then we became friends. I came quite a bit in Moscow to see that big project, Skolkovo. And then later on I met Denis Kovalovich, and everybody knows him, of course. And so I learned a little bit with Mr. Chubais, and so on and so on. And then coming to this beautiful place, Ульяновск. Difficult for me to say, Ульяновск. Brand new for me. And let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm a physicist, doctor in physics, whatever that is. I studied in Leuven. Then I was a lucky man that I could go also to MIT and Stanford, so I got a nice degree from these 3 universities. And then I moved to ITT. Let me take this away from you. To ITT in the United States. So I was 2 years working in Belgium. We had a couple of plants there. And then I moved for 2 years into Europe, working in Stuttgart and Paris and London and you name it. And then they brought me for 5 years to Shelton, Connecticut. I flew every week to New York, 5 years, 200 times I think. And then I moved for 2 years to China. We did a big transfer there from our technology, the digital switch. We moved it to China. Shouldn't have done it. And now they are beating us with Huawei companies. And then I moved for, for 1 year to India. We didn't get a contract there. We were very happy to deal with it, but nothing came out. And then I went into the government and I became an observer for my country, Belgium, small country, 11 million people. And they dropped me in Los Angeles. So that was the best time in my life working at the West Coast. I was every week in Silicon Valley, or in San Diego, or in Seattle, or the best time for technology, I think, 80, 40, 90. It was booming. And I met Steve Jobs and all these guys, and those days you could still talk to them. They were still young, and then they became an economist in Washington for 8 years. And I saw a complete other world, American companies lobbying in that place. Washington is still the power place in the world, not Moscow, not New York, not Brussels. It's Washington, believe me. There is the power. And then finally my rector Oosterling came to Washington. He said, Martijn, stop with these junkies, come back home to your old university, which I did. The university is based in Leuven, an old city, 15th century, beautiful monuments still there. Showing there the library, burnt twice by the Germans. First time in 1914 when the Germans came in, they burned the whole thing. Fantastic books, we lost them completely. We rebuilt it, and in 40 they came back, as you know, burned it again to the ground. We were lucky that the Americans, Hoover, gave us this library. So we thank the Americans that we got a beautiful library. The next please. Some introductory remarks to bring you into the subject. Next, please. If you think that we are still living on a globe, wrong. That's over. That's too slow. It takes 24 hours before you can start again. That's over. No, next. We are living on a flat world, believe me. And even today, I was roughly all over the world with my net. You can be in India, you can be in America, you can be in Russia. I met this man several times, Thomas Friedman, fantastic man, New York columnist. And I think he's very right in his book. The next is, it's not only a flat world, it is a digital world, a wireless world, a mobile world. We're living in a complete other world than 10, 20 years ago. So you can do much, much, much more than ever before in history. Next. Very important, very, very important is that we live in an entrepreneurial society. I think it's finished with these big companies. Of course they will stay there, Coca-Cola and Siemens and even Volkswagen and so on and so on. But more and more and more we are driven into an entrepreneurial society. A much better society, much more fun. The only thing we make in Leuven, and we will show you, are small companies. Happy people in your fantastic nano center. Young companies, entrepreneurial companies. Forget these big blah 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 companies. They have to be there, please, please. But not for me. I prefer that entrepreneurial society. Much more fun, much more fun. Next. We are changing economies. This is a destructive economy. Automotive. We had 5, 6 plants in Belgium. Today we have only 1. They left. They go to China. They go to all over the world. Finito. Irreversible. They will never come back. And we don't need them. The textile industry, completely gone. We were the best textile country in the world. Over. Finito. It will never come back. Telecom. We were very strong in my country, in telecom. My company, ITT, Bell, in Belgium we were 22,000. Today we are 600. Finito. Irreversible. And so on. This is what it is. We go to a complete new economy, which I call a disruptive. It is very disruptive. Take Uber. I was with Uber a couple of weeks ago in San Francisco. Disruptive. They will kill the taxi industry. Uber is today $45–50 billion market cap, and the taxi industry is only 25 billion. So they can take them. They just eat them. I love it. The Googles, the Facebooks, the Apples, all complete new oriented companies, all very disruptive to what we have seen up to now in history of economy. Next please. Here you see a little bit these fancy guys. This is Uber. You're still 41, it's already 45. You see Airbnb. Small entrepreneurial companies. If you see Uber, it is phenomenal. You have to see that company. I explained during lunch. I met Mr. Ploeg, number 2 in Uber in San Francisco. He was the campaign manager for Obama. He brought Obama twice in office. Unbelievable sharp guy. You won't believe it then. They show you then the way Uber is working. Complete new approach. And I cannot go in detail, but sooner or later I will write books on this. And if you talk to Uber, and I visited Tesla with Elon Musk, and you visit Google, and suddenly you see that these guys are talking, and the driverless car will come. Believe me, it will come, and it will be a very new consortium. You see pieces of Google in it, data. You see pieces of Tesla. You see the guys from the batteries. Complete new world. Complete new world. Next, please. I like to show you this. I like this slide very much. It shows you Belgium, but you can see something from this region in it. In the 60s, we call that the golden 60s in Belgium. Golden 60s. Everything was booming. We were very competitive those days, those years, because we had super productivity. We brought the productivity to the top. You couldn't do better anymore. Wow, we were competitive. We could go all over the world with our products. Wow. In the 70s, we had to add quality. We built in more quality in our products. So we stayed competitive. In the 80s, we had to become very flexible to stay competitive. We brought in capital, technology intensive things, etc. Good. Then the 90s. 95, 96, 97, and then suddenly we saw that we went over the top with our competitiveness. We lost track in the world economy. We were not innovative enough. We were not innovative enough, and the economy punished us. And then you go to the 21st century, and we are living in that, let's hope a long time. 90% will come from innovation. No discussion. If you like to assemble cars, please do it, but you will not survive. If you like to make textile, please do it, you will not survive. You need innovation, innovation, innovation. Next, please. Innovation is changing on top of that. Please, next. Innovation is the new form of competition of this century. Nothing else. If you are not innovative, please, let's close the session, let's go home, have a beer or a vodka or whatever. That we had yesterday night. Innovation requires what we say triple helix. Famous guy is Baumol. He nearly got the Nobel Prize this week. Unfortunately, another guy took it. You have to read his book. Fantastic book, The Free Market Innovation Machine. He's based in Princeton. I met him several times, Mr. Baumol. And Baumol talks a little bit about the new way of economy. Next. Triple helix is a very complex dynamics. It's not just a complex, it is a complex dynamics between government, industry, and knowledge centers. And most of you have some relations to one of the three. The next. The knowledge creation comes from universities, technical institutes. Yes, since years, since hundreds of years. The diffusion should be done for a part by the government. How to diffuse it? They should give me instruments to do it. They shouldn't tell me what I have to do, but they should give me instruments. And then the exploitation should be done by the industry. The industry has to make the money so that we have jobs and so on. Next. The innovation is changing, believe me. It goes faster and faster and faster. If you don't know to wake every morning at 5 o'clock, forget it. I'm exaggerating. It goes very, very fast. It requires a wider collaboration between disciplines. You know, years ago, you could be a physicist and do something, or a chemist, or a metallurgist, or a medical doctor. Now you bring these together. It comes together all over the place. The best thing what we have is knowledge, brains, I hope. And there you see that you have to protect that. The better things we do in Leuven, and you will see that, is protecting our knowledge. So you take patents so that the money stays in the house. A wider collaboration between the regions, that's the reason I'm here. You have to work together in regions. You cannot do it on your own. Forget it. If you think that you, in Ульяновск, that you think you can do it here on your own, forget it. It won't work. And of course, it's an open innovation. You know so much. Take Johnson & Johnson. I know the president very well. The president R&D, it's a Belgian, by the way, Paul Stoffels. And he tells me, he said, Martin, he said, I do, how much? I forgot the figures, but let's say I do 1 in pharmacy, but the world does 100. So 99 is done somewhere else. He's doing only 1% with his big company of 70 billion. Open innovation, open innovation. Next, please. Well, I'm always talking about Lego innovations. Everybody know the Lego blocks, and my kids and grandkids play with it. Eh? In a lot of cases, innovation comes from just putting these Lego blocks together. Very simple, but you have to do it. And the famous man, the next, is the guy which we know all of us, Steve. Steve came out with the Macintosh, never seen before. He beat it IBMs and so on. We're not aware. Then he comes out with an iPod. He changed the music industry 100%. Companies like Philips went. Then he said, let me make an iPhone. And companies like Nokia fell down. Then he comes back with his iPad, his iWatch. And they will come with the iCar, I'm pretty sure. People tell me Steve Jobs is gone, now it's over with Apple. Don't believe that. The guy, the new boss, is phenomenal. The organization is phenomenal, and they're sitting on a pile of cash never seen before in history. Next, please. This is a very important slide. This is a SIG World Report. I can show you that if you go tonight home and you take SIG 2015, you get a little bit better results. But what it shows is, where is the knowledge in this world? And they mapped already, I think, roughly 90% of the whole world knowledge is mapped on a flat world. And you see, of course, the West Coast, you see the East Coast, you see Europe. For Russia, it doesn't look so good, spots. You can see roughly how the economy will boom in the will boost in the next coming years. Yes?
I called it usually, Martin, tomography of the R&D.
Yes, yes.
It is.
That is what it is. Yeah.
Because the black one is there is nothing. Oceans and
the ocean still nothing up to now.
Lands.
But it tells you that for South America, problem. It tells me for Africa, problem. We see, of course, a little bit in China and India and so on, but it's still a long way. So everybody is afraid of the Chinese. I'm not afraid of the Chinese. It's still a long time before they have something like Europe and the United States. And I'm so much in favor of that transatlantic deal where Europe and US go together. Then you have the most powerful machine, and we have no problem then with Chinese or Indians or whatever. The next, please. Well, if you take, for example, biotech. Where are the biotechs? Here. Perfectly on that map. It fits 100%. Next, please. And then there's a little bit my theory, and I'm writing books on this. You like to be on that knowledge economy X. You like to be on that X. It starts in Canada, goes to the United States, go into Europe. I put Moscow on. From now on I will put Ульяновск on it. It goes to Syria, I'm very sorry, Israel. Very important country. I'm there every 3 months. You won't believe what they are doing in knowledge and science. I put a little bit in India, a lot in Singapore, a little bit in China, Taiwan, South Korea. The dot on Australia is in fact not correct. I had to give a lecture there, so I had to put it on. If not, they kick me out. The next, please. If you refine that a little bit, you get this. the hubs, you can see the hubs very well where it is going on. Today, you have 50, 60 regions where there is top action, not so much more. And you like to be one of them. Next, please. The next, please. What we see is, and you can give a lot of definitions on clusters, is that a cluster is mostly, not mostly, it's always close to knowledge centers. You cannot form a cluster in the desert, you cannot form it in the jungle. It has to be in a place where there is a lot of knowledge. Like you have the universities, like you have the technical centers. You need talent. The best talent is not good enough. You need money, access to funding. You need a lot of money. Quality of life is important. People are not willing to live in the jungle or in the desert. There should be a good quality of life, and that doesn't mean drinking and eating. It's a lot of other things. You need the best infrastructures, like recently what you built in your research place. Wow, it's fantastic. Stop. A very rich entrepreneurial environment you need. There should be entrepreneurship. I don't like people who say, yes, but, no, you have to go for it. All the support should be there, the market should be there. If you see this place here, you are close to a big market. We saw the map several times. You reach easily 100 million people from here to Moscow. And then you need good incentives. And I saw the incentives you are giving here are extremely good. We cannot do that. You still can do it. Next. This is an interesting map. If you see the clusters in the world, in the United States, there you see them. And we can talk about the critical mass and so on. The next slide. Silicon Valley is still the best. No discussion. This is the best and it will stay the best. I'm coming there every 3 months. Those who tell me Silicon Valley is not what it was, forget it. It is better than ever before. The next shows me the guys with critical mass. Yeah. Wow. Now I show you Europe. Yeah. Excellent. That's Europe. So we are losing the train. We are missing the train. Not good, not good, not good. The next, my town Leuven. It's an old, young city. It's very old, I don't 1,000 years. It's a young city because we have a lot of students there. We have 50,000 students, so Leuven never sleeps. It's always somebody in the streets. Next. It's very close to Brussels. Very close to the airport. I don't know, 15 minutes you are in the airport if there is no traffic. You have to take the train. Next, please. Very strong guys. Very, very, very strong guys. Kunde Bakker, and I'm pretty sure he will come sooner or later to this place. It's the best of the best. It's a genius. This man's vision is, I never have seen this in my life. Of course, we have a mayor in the city. We like the guy very much. We are very friendly with him. He can sleep on his 2 ears because we make jobs and jobs and jobs and we make the people rich. So, and this is a famous guy, the third one here, was the former rector, André Oosterling. And André came to pick me up in Washington, 98. He said, Martin, come back. And he said to the scientists and the engineers, listen carefully, if you don't show me results, I kick you out. Very simple message. He said, if you don't produce, then we'll stop the bloody research. Then everybody said, what are you looking for? He said, companies, spin-offs. You have to make 1 spin-off per month. He must be kidding, this guy. You have to take patents who bring money. And you have to do contract research. And if not, we close the damn thing. A rough, tough message, but very clear for everybody. Very, very clear. Next. So I just came in 1st of April 98, and not knowing what to do, I had to make a small brochure, and I found somewhere a beautiful weight, and I hang that above Leuven. This is Belgium, and that is Leuven, so I hang it above. And I said in my brochure, Leuven will become the center of knowledge and technology in Europe. And everybody said this Martina Hiнуля is crazy. Maybe it's true. Next, please. So in my career in the United States, I checked on regions all the time. Another guy who was doing that was Professor Gibbons at Stanford, and a nasty lady in Berkeley, very nasty lady, Annalene Saxenian. Phew. And I did some work in the field. When we are looking to a region, like your region here, I look to your knowledge centers, which I did. Because I didn't see everything, but I saw a lot. How good are your knowledge centers? If there is a problem with the knowledge centers, let's stop the discussion here. It's over, finito. 2, the entrepreneurs. You have these bloody entrepreneurs. And preferable role models. Guys who have done it. You can touch them. And I'm always telling in my lectures, don't read this stupid book from Richard Florida on innovation and blah blah and entrepreneurship. Maybe some people have read it. It says nothing. The man has never seen a company in his life. Huh? Or the books from Chesbury, Peter Chesbury from Berkeley. Professor who writes a book on open innovation doesn't know what it is. You need entrepreneurs and role models. Probably they are not aware that they are an entrepreneur. That's another story. And you have to make him an entrepreneur. 3, money. We need venture capital, we need seed capital, we need capital markets. You have to bring them to the stock market whenever it comes out. Europe, not good. We have 28 countries and 28 stock exchanges. Why not to have a Nasdaq like the United States with 3,300 top-notch companies? Why the hell Europe is still sitting with all these stock markets? Nevertheless, you need the best infrastructures. And I saw, while I was here, very good infrastructures in several places. You need the best infrastructures. Stop Middle Ages thing, do it away, tear it down. You have to form clusters. There should be a cluster policy. A company here and a company there, a company there. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You need international companies. If you think that you are good and the international companies are not coming, that means that you are not good. I saw fantastic companies coming to your park. Wow, I'm amazed what I saw. Networks, networks, and networks. The only thing I know is a network. I know everybody. And that's important. Whenever you need an information, you go in your network. And the network should be very, very, very good. And forget all the lousy guys in it, kick them out. And work on your network. I think I spend 10% of my time on networking. Keeping my network perfect. You need a government. The government shouldn't tell me what I have to do, but the government should give me instruments so that I can do my job. Government shouldn't say it's biotechnology or ICT. No, no government. You don't know that. But the government should give me the right instruments so that I can do what we are planning. Quality of life should be good. If not, you do not attract talent. Very important. Now you will say, well, we have the 10 ingredients. So, what's the problem? The problem is the next slide. To make the soup. Huh? It's well known, the Martin Hul bouillabaisse concept. Believe it or not, sometimes if I am at home, I'm not so much at home. If I'm at home, I make a soup, a bouillabaisse soup. The minimum is that you have the good ingredients, the 10 ingredients. But then you need a recipe. Those regions who do not have the recipe are not successful. And recipe means very strong individuals. You need very strong, tough individuals. People will go like this. If my colleague Koen de Bakker has to go out of the building, he will, I don't know what he will do, but he goes through it. The next. A little bit history of Leuven. The best thing we did was setting up the brewery, 1366. Today the biggest brewery on earth. I don't know whether you saw the last presses. They acquired Sapmiller yesterday or the day before. I think they own now 30-40% of the whole beer industry. Born in Leuven in a little place. We waited 50 years and we started the university. Good beer, good students. Yeah? There's no discussion on that. And I'm an example. No beer, no students. I told that to my two sons, and they really practiced a little bit too much, I think. In those days, for the university, was education, education, education. And then you come to the 16th century, and we saw in our universities guys like Mercator, all the maps. It's not Google. We invented it in Leuven. Mercator did the first mapping, not Google. Come on. Vesalius, anatomy, and so on and so on. All guys from Leuven, 16th century. So now we see research coming in the game. And then this guy comes in, Fred Thurman. One of the most famous people I know. Fred Thurman was the dean at the Stanford University. And in 1939, he said, let me take a look on my campus, the beautiful Stanford campus. I love that campus. And there were two guys, Hewlett and Packard. I said, come in guys, let's have a coffee, because in America they don't drink beer, as you know. So they drank a coffee, and he said, why not you start your own business? I said, sir, what business? I said, start a business. And he gave them $350 out of his pocket. So he was the first venture capitalist. And they worked in the labs, and they developed an oscillator, an audio oscillator. I said, and now. At that time, believe it or not, Disney was working in Los Angeles, and he needed a couple of audio oscillators for his movie, Fantasialand. And I think they sold them for $340, two of them. And from the first month, they were successful. From the first month. And he did it with other guys, like the Varian, Sich, and Russ, and so on and so on. Famous phenomena, 39. At that time, Europe was going into war. Losing our time, our money, our energy. Come on. Huh? Here you see us, in 72, Leuven, when we said, should we build a transfer office? A transfer office. We couldn't write it, transfer office. What is that, eh? Not so successful. But we had one. We were the first in Europe having a transfer office. But we didn't know how to do it. In 84, a famous professor, Roger van Overstraten, left the university. He was electrical engineer, studied in Stanford. And the guy set up EMEC, and several people in this room know EMEC. Today, the biggest microelectronic center in the world. Not in Belgium, not in Europe, in the world. Last budget, I think, 420 million euro they do. And they have 2,200 researchers. Top level in the world. In 2008, believe it or not, we got the IPTEC prize. We were rewarded with IPTEC, the best technology transfer center in the world. So that night we drank a lot of beer. Can you imagine it? We were very proud. In 2012, we were 40 years old, or 40 years young, and we saw 137 spin-offs, young, phenomenal companies. We brought 300 technology companies to Leuven, 7,000 researchers. We created 7,000 high-tech jobs. We built research parks and incubators. Wow, we were very proud, and we still continue. Next, please. I said, in 72, we started the transfer office, not knowing what they were going to do, absolute nothing. Not much happened, not much. And here you see 98. I came back to Leuven, but mostly André Oosterlin, who said, I like to see results. I like to see results, if not, we close the doors of these labs. And then it happens, believe it or not, the spin-offs, the contract research, the intellectual property, it all jumped up exponentially. Why there? Why in 98? And it's a good lecture for here. We made these bloody engineers and scientists aware that they could do it. They were not aware that they were an entrepreneur. They were not aware. To make them aware, you have to show them the incentives, which is money. We tried, I told it yesterday to the governor, we tried everything. We tried nice girls, we tried beer, we tried diamond. No, it didn't work. Money, clear incentives. You need seed capital. If you are sitting in a lab and there is not a seed money, or you have to go to a lousy bank or a lousy venture capitalist, I hope there are no venture capitalists here, forget it. We brought it in ourselves. we brought in 25 million euro from the beginning. You need a fund to take patents. If you say to the engineer, take a patent, he says, I have no money. So, where is the money? You need strong individuals, believe me. Guys who go straight away, no discussion, no discussion. You need entrepreneurs, you make them. And preferable, you have role models. Role models, role models. And you bring the role models to a cafe so that you can touch them, because that's important. This is a real entrepreneur, guys. Eh? And Dennis knows very well my dear friend Jan Kellewaard. He's one of my best friends on earth. He's a serial entrepreneur. He goes up, he falls down, he goes up, falls down. That's the guy you need. Not only the success stories or the failures, but you need, I like that guy. At this very moment, he's down again. He's at the bottom of the ground. Next, please. Well, forget this thing. Yes, next, please. But so no, let's forget this. This is not a correct figure. We do in research 420. We have all the faculties. You can do even theology at our university and so on. Next, please. What is our university do? My university, KU Leuven, academic education, stays very, very important. We have to educate people for lawyers and doctors and scientists and so on and so on. We do a lot of scientific research, and I have to make one correction at this very moment. The fundamental research we don't touch, we stay away from it. Fundamental research is important for the next 5-10 years, but we don't touch it. If we come in the fundamental lab, they kick us out. When I'm talking about research which we touch, it is applied research, applied. Then we do service to the community in doing these transfers. We made that little town Leuven very rich. It's a city with 100,000 people, with a lot of millionaires in Europe, a lot of them, and we did it. We brought them all the things to become millionaire. Can you imagine? Next. This is the famous R&D transfer office. We call it KU Leuven Research and Development, LRD we call it. A bridge between backers. Can you go back one? It's a real bridge between research and industry, whatever the industry is. It's a real bridge. Yeah. I said already, it's 72, we did it. We become a technology and knowledge transfer bridge. We would support researchers. We would offer technology to the industry. We are 100% autonomous. We don't need the we are university, but we don't need the university. 0, 0, 0, 0. We bring them money, so they are very happy with us, but we don't need 1 cent from the university. Nothing, 0. And then it is a 100% business unit. It works like 100% business. We work with quarterly reports, we work just like a business. Today we are probably 90 people. When I left it was 89 or so, and we hire these days more and more. So we have 90 people, and you see what kind of people we hire. The next. Yeah, that's 85, that figure is always too small. Let's go to the next slide. Here again, you see all these researchers at the university and our association. You see the business, and we make that gap. We are in between 100%. 100%. Next, please. This is a famous slide. Keep that in your head. Heads. Management, only 2. I think even not. We have no managers. Managers, what is that? Eh? We don't like managers at all. Shouldn't say that loud. Eh? We have 4 distinct divisions. We have the guys who do the spin-off companies. Probably 12, 13, 14 figures are not correct. Eh? I call that sniff dogs. I explained it yesterday to your governor, and he said, sniff dog, what is that? Eh? Well, this guy who sniffs, who goes in the divisions and comes back with a good piece of information, good piece of technology. We have the guys doing intellectual property, top in the world. Dennis is at this moment working with one of our better guys, Ivo, Dennis, Ivo Rulands. Yeah, he's top of the top. He knows IP in and out. Yeah. We have, I think, 15 of them. Research collaboration with the industry, maybe 20 people. And then we have big financial stuff there, 39, I think it's 42. So we have guys and girls who make the business plan, who do the auditing, who do the accounting. Every single thing we do in-house, we will not give it out, no way. Nobody, yeah, we get auditors, of course, but we run it 100% ourselves. The next, please. So there is the rector on top. You call it rector, eh? We stay far away from the rector. We stay far away from the departments. We stay far away from the departments and things. We are working with the divisions. This is a research division, and we have hundreds of them. Hundreds. And because we have in total 4,000 or 5,000 researchers, so we have a lot of divisions. Can be 50 people, can be 200 people, can be 10 people, can be one guy. We work at the level of the researchers and not with the departments or not with the faculty or not with the rector. However, there is a very good understanding, don't take me wrong. You remember the 4 divisions? You go back one slide, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? Next slide. There we go. Through the divisions, like a matrix. Very simple matrix. Very simple matrix. So first the sniff dogs, they go in. There he goes. There he finds something. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting piece of information. Maybe he has a lunch with him, or maybe a coffee or a beer or whatever. We do a lot of things in cafe. He comes back to our offices. I say, it's interesting. Is it protected? We send a legal guy. We send a patent expert. Maybe we do some marketing. If I say we, always the same group and not outside. No way, we don't believe them. So maybe we do some marketing study. Maybe we make a business model. Maybe we make a business plan. And so on, and so on, and so on. And maybe we set up a company, spin off. Maybe we take a patent. Maybe we'll do contract research. It will all come of these top people going into that very famous matrix. Very simple. Very simple. Don't make it complex. Come on. The next, please. Yeah, what are we doing? We work, we do collaboration in research. We protect the goodies, we spin off things. We encourage regional development. We make the city rich, as I said. We stimulate entrepreneurship. We give courses, we bring them together, we set up visionary workshops, and so on and so on. Next, please. Research collaboration. So we have somewhere an interesting research group, and we like, in the first place, to make them aware that they can make money in doing contract research with Siemens, with Qualcomm, with Philips. We give them advice, because they don't know. We negotiate the contract, if it comes to a contract, because these guys don't know why the hell they should know it. We follow up the contracts. We manage the whole thing financially, because to deal with Siemens is more difficult than to deal with Intel. But you need experts. The scientist cannot be an expert, or the engineer cannot be an expert. We do all the administration, we do all the legal, we do everything for them, every single thing. Next. That's one of the things which we do quite a bit. We developed this mouse in contract research with the big pharmaceutical companies. The mouse is developed by Professor Van Leuven, this like the city, Van Leuven. And he cloned this mouse, and he makes this mouse Alzheimer's sick. So the brains of that mouse, he touches it, and he has then a little bit what we call Alzheimer's disease in it. Companies love this mouse because they are developing drugs to stop Alzheimer. So they need that kind of mouse. Mouse costs $5,000. And we send thousands and thousands of them all over the world. That's a money machine, this guy. $5,000 for the mouse. Next, please. And we do a lot. If you go to the airport, you see the Samsonite. Each time you see them, you think about us. $3. We made the fiber, carbon fibers, developed by us, and each little suitcase, $3 comes to us. Fantastic one, easy one. We developed new apples. We developed, you name it, a new rice. This is an interesting one, the Viriat. We had a Professor de Klerk, famous man, and he had interesting molecules in his fridge. So there's a guy coming in the fridge, said, Professor, an interesting molecule, eh? He said, well, what are we going to do with that? We took a patent, and we sold the patent to Gilead Science. Blockbuster, billions and billions and billions. Today, this product takes 70% of the world market. AIDS, HIV, I don't know the word. HIV, AIDS? Yeah? 90% of the American market. We have 3% on the royalties. It's a multi-billion-dollar product, so you know what is coming in every day. This is a winner. It's a TPA, tissue plasminogen activator. I hope it's in your blood. It prevents that the blood will clutter. We sold that patent to Genentech. Multi-billion, 5% royalties. So that professor became very rich. The next, please. If there is a research collaboration and 100 comes in, 100 euro, 100, we take immediately 8.5% for us. So that's in our pocket, so that we can pay our people and so on and so on. We are very generous, and we gave 8.5% to the University of Leuven. So even a theologist can win some money from us. Huh? And the rest goes to the group doing the work. And an incentive there is that 50% of the profit at the end of the contract can go to the individual, what is left. So some professors make some money. They will not put it in their pocket. They mostly will use it to expand the research group, invest in patents, or spin-off companies. So there are a lot of guys that say, let's try this, let's try that. We see everything now. Some guys have even their own venture capital. Next. Business goes up linear. You remember in 2008, when the Lehman Brothers collapsed in New York? We had a financial crisis never seen before in that history, in that century. We gave him 25 million euro 5 years ago. He's worth $1 billion. Last week, we gave him back 60 million. So he brought in 25, 30 brilliant people. Coming from the industry, not from the university. We have enough at the university. The next, please. And you see a couple of examples. And the TPA, we brought it to Genentech, the Sinopharm to Gilead, to GSK, you name it. And the further you bring in, the more money you get. And that should be a message. And don't be satisfied if you have a nice molecule. Try to bring it up in that value chain as far as possible. Even to our own company, Remind, it's a company which is a spin-off from us in the field of Alzheimer's disease. Doing extremely well. Sooner or later, I think, one of these big guys will grab that company. Next, please. Yeah, you see CD3 in Leuven, and we have already relations left and right in this world. The next, please. Here you see their network. I talk about network. A network with universities, network with the industry. So you see, working with the big guys, with Janssen, with Merck, Novartis, Pfizer, Astra. They developed a network never seen before in Leuven. 4 or 5 years old. Next, please. In patents, 2013 we took 139, I think it's 150, 160 these days. 20 years ago it was only one patent we took, only one per year. Now we take 150, we have 600 active patent families. We bring in quite some license income. The next, please. Now the money comes in. We have a good patent. We bring it to a company, call it Janssen Pharmaceutica, Johnson & Johnson, whatever. And there is the money. The first 5 million who comes in, if it is smaller than 5 million, let's say 5 million, the researcher will get 40% in his pocket. So he's a millionaire overnight. 40% from 5 is between 5 and 25, he will get 30. Between 25 and 50, he get 20. We have guys in this branch getting every year 10% of 50 million. So they are multi-millionaires. We have professors sitting on hundreds of millions. Next, please. Spin-offs, very important, very important that you create companies. We identify the technology, yes, my sniff dogs. We do the market survey. We make a business model, a business plan. We give them all the legal support because the guys don't know it. We give them a competent team. We find the investors. We find the infrastructures. We manage to grow, let them grow, and so on and so on. Unique. Very simple, but you have to do it. Very simple, but you have to do it. Next, please. Spin-off and innovate. What are the incentives? Of course, they get shares. Typically, the guys who go out to form a company, 25% of the shares, which is a lot. And we give them opportunity to build up that portfolio. And some of them will build it up to 100% of the shares. LMS, one of the top-notch companies which we had, the managers took 100% of the shares after I don't know what time, and they sold the company 2 years ago to Siemens for 740 million. Number one, Robert van Deurzen had 60% of 740. That's a nice amount of money. So he's a rich man and he can invest again and again and again. Next, please. Here you see we started in 72. Not much happened. 98. There we are with a new team. There we are with, we need results. There we brought in all the instruments, and from then on it was jumping ahead. Next, please. Interesting to find out, and this is in fact my favorite slide. Take a period of 5-6 years. We put in 7 million. With our seed capital, which is 25 million, we put in 14.5, but we leveraged 760 million. All money coming into Leuven in these little spin-offs. This is unique. Show me any university in the world where you can show these figures. That means that you have good projects. If not, the guys are not willing to come in your business. Next, please. And we created companies, and we can go on forever. The next. And so on and so on. Next. I talked about the seed capital. We set it up in 97, 98. And we said we need 25 million. 2 times 12.5. We brought in 20%, KU Leuven, and we brought in 2 banks, KBC and BNP, biggest bank in Belgium. I remember for the rest of my life, when I was sitting with these banks in Brussels in their beautiful offices, they said, Martin, we give you 40% of 25, it's 10 million. Charity. We don't need anything back. You take it and run away. Today they have quite something in portfolio. Top-notch companies. Next, please. Success. Critical mass of high-quality research. No good research, forget it. Stay away from it. Stay away from the scene. You need multidisciplinary team and high-value support. You have to show these guys clear incentives. Don't tell them, yes, we can do it. No, that's what you are going to do. You know exactly where you start. A very good entrepreneurial climate. All the guys who say, yes, but kick them out as soon as possible. In the legal context, we do nothing illegal, nothing, if not they put us in jail. Huh? And we offer all the instruments which are necessary, from a seed capital to a patent. We give them everything is there. Next. We got the IPTEC prize in 2008, and we were the number 1 before Columbia, and so on and so on. Next, please. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we became the number 2 most innovative university in Europe. Number 2. Imperial College is there 1. So I'm saying we are number 1 in Europe. because Imperial College is in the UK. It's an island. It's far away from us. Next. The ecosystem. Everybody talks about ecosystems. What is an ecosystem? Once again, that beautiful way above Leuven, we were going to become the fantastic city, yeah? And yes, there we are. On top, knowledge. We have the university. We have IMEC, that Inter-University Microelectronics Center. We have that Flemish Biotechnology Institute. And we have that big academic hospital. We have a huge hospital where we can do clinical testing, where we can do research in the field of medicine. Do we have knowledge centers? Yes, definitely. Do we have high-tech industry today? Yes. 300 technology companies, 135 spin-offs, is already more. And you see the figures for research. We do, the figure is not okay, it's now 800 million we do. EMEC 400, we 400, 800 million in a little town. We have clusters, yes, in life science, in nanotech, in megatronics, in clean tech. Everybody is running. This is important. We built extreme interesting technology platforms. The one I said already, CD3, Center for Drug Development. It's a platform where you bring the best of the best together. We did it for digital signal processing. We have a lot of companies and research things doing digital processing, digital signal processing. Now we have a group, I think 40, 50 companies, top institutes. So we have something to say in that field of digital signal processing. LSEC, we set up around cybersecurity. Several companies came out with algorithms and built firewalls for the banks, and what is it? We formed a platform. For neurons, nerve, materials research center. We brought together all the guys in the materials, brought them together in one platform. We have 800 of them. L-Force in food. We do better things in food. We are moving from the conventional food industry to what we call nutraceuticals, nutrition and pharmaceutical. Fantastic field. Medical technology, more and more we do in the medical technology. Yeah? We build parks in Aarschot and in Aarbergen. So we built several parks to bring in our little companies. We have a network. I set up this network in '99. I paid a visit to Cambridge and I saw the Cambridge network. I said, wow, that is fantastic. So we built it immediately, '99. And there is coming together everybody, the entrepreneur, the venture capitalist, the guy of the industry, the academics, the government. Everybody comes together. Mostly we have a small lecture, half an hour, 40 minutes, and then we have beer. Best thing we do in Leuven. Sitting together with everybody. And of course we go further than Leuven. I will come to that. Elat, Eindhoven, Leuven, Aachen. Health Access Europe, Adriaanville. Next please. Clusters. Let's see. IPOs, mergers, acquisitions. I showed you already the cluster. What we think. The next. I give you the cluster microelectronics and nano. What you see in the nucleus. Knowledge. KU Leuven and IMEC. That's the nucleus. If they were not there, forget the cluster. There is no cluster. You see specific divisions. The lab for photochemistry, the lab for solid state physics, blah blah blah. So out of that nucleus, you see specific departments. And then it comes, we created hundreds of innovative companies. First circle. Pure innovative companies. And the next you see what we call mixed innovative companies. Not pure, but close. This is for us a cluster. It is a cluster for us. And from time to time we sell them or we acquire or whatever. Next is megatronics. We are very strong in megatronics. Very strong. At a given time there was a Krypton, metrology. There we saw a new company, Metris. And Metris acquired Krypton. And then the whole thing is taken by Nikon. Nikon, huge multi-billion company, with our meters and Krypton. Next, feed food health, functional food. Wow. The next, life science. 10 years ago, we had nothing. It was empty. Now we have a lot of new companies, biotech companies. Next, please. Sometimes we bring them to the stock market and we become rich or we become poor. The company Thrombogenics. 1.4 billion, today it's 100 million. It goes up and down, but nevertheless, sometimes you have to bring them to the stock market. Next. We built research parks, of course, you have to host them somewhere. Next. Once again, in 98, when I came back to Leuven, this is the old city, and then I said we will build the technology corridor south of Leuven. 3 parks, Haasrode, Arenberg, Termunk. People said, what are they going to do, these guys? They are crazy. Well, we built them. The next. Well, there are a lot of things and campuses. Next, please. Now, this is the bio-incubator. Next, please. This is the first park, Haasrode. Much smaller than your park. It's 136 hectares, which is very big for us. 136 hectares, but we have there 200 companies, and we have there 3,000-4,000 people, high added value jobs. This is LMS. If I say big, 1,400 people, for us that's big. How much business they do? 220, 230 million, for us that's big. I prefer 100 companies doing 100 million than one who's doing 10 billion and going bankrupt, like Nokia. So very important that you have a collection of companies. We have Japanese companies, GSR, we have, you name it. This is Philips, this street. It's the Interleuven Avenue, whatever that is. I call it the Philips lane. It's all Philips, digital and NXP. One big road. Next. This is the new park which we are building at this time with 5 clusters from the very beginning, A, B, C, D, E. It looks like a lady shoe. Very well planned, the master plan, in depth we will go in it. And then we said, first we will build B. ICT, information technology. No discussion, you cannot come into with a restaurant, whatever, it's ICT. Then we said D, biotech, biotech, biotech. And then we said, let's wait then, let's wait then. So, next please. Yeah, next. So, in the B, well, here, in fact, once again, it's 13.5 hectares, it's not much, but I like it very much. This is roughly 2 kilometers from this top to that top. Very close together, fantastic buildings. In total 125,000 square meters. So you can bring in there 3,000-4,000 people. Next please. For the biotech, I said, we take D and we planned from the very beginning 3 top incubators. Not 1, 3. So again, we took quite some risk. However, we started with 1. Started building this. Became quite successful. We put in, let's say, 8 million euro to give you an idea of the price. And we started building 2. And while we were building 2, we said, hey boy, we see a lot of opportunities. Let's build 3. So that's what we are doing, what we did. So we have the 3 incubators. Wow, you have to see them. So this 3 is running full. You have to pay attention. So we are going to build 4 and 5 in the next coming years. Next. This is the B, the ICT, you see, for several buildings. 25,000 square meters. Fantastic companies which we brought in, all ICT oriented. No biotech, no materials. Next please. This is a view of the incubators. There is the 1. There. 1, 2, 3. Next please. A bio-incubator, I'm not interested in the stones. Huh? It's a little bit more than the stones. It's the relations which are so important. For biotech, you have to work with a Roche or a Novartis or UCB or GlaxoSmithKline. Very, very important. On a given day, I was looking to bring in a company Remind. You know the guys working for the drug on Alzheimer. And finally, the guy decided to go in incubators. So I said, he's there. And on a Monday morning, I got an email from him. The best email I got from that guy. He said, Martin, That's the best thing what I did is going to the incubator. Because I talked to company Trombogenics, which is there, and now I have a contract with Roche. If he stayed at the university, he would never have touched Roche. Next, please. So we do a lot of things. Life science, energy, food, logistics, ICT, automotive. Now you bring that together. Now the puzzle really comes together. And this is pure power, this. Nobody can beat us, nobody. Because you have all the power in the synergies of these different groups. Next. So, people laugh with me in the beginning. Now I can put hundreds of companies which we have under that weight. Next. 2014 we had 380 companies, we did 8 billion, that's a lot of money, we created 16,000 jobs with the researchers. So we are very proud that we could create quite some jobs. The next please. Very important slide, ecosystem, ecosystems, ecosystems. You see again, Leuven University and IMEC, the transfer offices. We go via the Leuven networks, which are very strong, to the industry. We discussed that for some time. Via the science parks, we create wealth in the region. And via our little seed capital, Gamma Frisius, 25 million, we go in the whole financial world. We can go to New York, we can go to Hong Kong, we can go to London, no problem. We find the money. No problem, no problem at all. No problem at all, it's not true. But you can go in, you have a good portfolio. Very important to remember this slide. Very important. Next. We drink beer from time to time, yes, you know that in the meantime. Very important, quality of life. Make that thing attractive so that companies will come to you, that researchers will come to you, that money makers will come to you. These days we have in Leuven, I don't know how many venture capitalists. Many. You're sitting probably on 700-800 million in VC. Next. Some conclusions at this moment. Next. Yeah, next. The basis is critical mass of high quality. I told that already a couple of times. 2, you create that entrepreneurial climate. 3, all in the perfect legal framework. Nothing illegal. No way. Clear incentives. A professional interface unit, which we are. It's 100% professional. It's not amateuristic. Amateurs out as soon as possible. You need seed capital. Next. Spin-offs for us, enormously important. Without the spin-offs, we are nowhere. IP, very important. You protect what you have. You cannot protect it in a famous awareness phenomenon. We make them aware. A forum between business, academia and government, triple helix. You bring them together. Not focus, but focus on focus. We don't focus, no, we focus on focus. Very important word. And then enthusiasm. If you are not enthusiastic in our team, we kick you out. We kick you out of the window. Get lost. Quality of life important. Attractiveness of the region is important. Next. Do I have a couple of minutes?
Okay.
Yeah? The Leuven model is fine, but we say that's not enough. That's not enough. We like to scale it to something phenomenal. Next. So we scale the Leuven model. The next. There it is. We could move with Leuven. This is Belgium, eh? This triangle. We could move with Leuven to the south. No. To Paris. No, we are not interested. We could move it in the direction of Brussels. No. Bureaucratic town, we don't like it. Huh? We move it in the direction of Eindhoven, famous place in Leuven, in Europe, the Netherlands. Very dynamic in what we are doing, knowledge economy. And we look into Aachen, the Germans. You know the Germans, efficient, gründlich, like they say. We like very much the way they think. They are not so innovative as you think, but they are very precision, except for Volkswagen. So, we worked on that thing. We said, 6 million people, so that's critical mass. Let's do it there. Next. There is once again. Well, even, believe it or not, sometimes we have a drink and we talked to Liège. Liège has an excellent university, Sartinement, excellent university. So sometimes it's not a triangle but a quadrant. Next. Here you see a couple of figures. I told you already, for Leuven, we do roughly $1 billion in R&D. KU Leuven and IMEC is 800, more than $1 billion in that little place. In Philips, in Eindhoven, we see Philips doing 728, ASML, big companies, very strong companies. And if you go around, you find out that this is one of the most remarkable regions in Europe. We think it's the best region in Europe. You can go and look further. You can go to Stuttgart, you can go to Paris, you can go to Toulouse or Grenoble. Make me the calculation. And that triangle gives us a phenomenal impact in R&D, top-notch companies, banking, venture capital, and so on. Next. There we are. You remember in the beginning, the momentum. This is Leuven, Eindhoven, Aachen. There they are, the three guys. Too small. So with our triangle, go to the next slide. There we are. We are now in that famous matrix where we have enough critical mass. This is unique. We are not comparable with the Americans, stay away from them, but we are there. We are there. Next. We make clusters. You saw the clusters which we made in Leuven. If you do that now in Elat, that becomes another story. Next. Next. Take high-tech systems and materials. Can you imagine in the nucleus, you have my university, you have IMEC, Assel, Liège, Geleen, Philips. It's a remarkable nucleus of knowledge. Not one place in Europe gives you this kind of institute. Fraunhofer and Max Planck and all the companies which universities. Then you get a complete other system in innovative companies. Here the Germans, Belgians, the Netherlands. You get a complete thing in mixed innovative companies and network related. This is a unique cluster. If you show me a cluster like that in Europe, in another place, let me know. I pay you a bottle of champagne. Or vodka. This is high-tech systems and materials with unique companies. Next. This is for life science and medical technology. Take a look to that nucleus. Take a look to the companies which we made in innovative, mixed innovative, and that.
Can you comment a few words about how you understood the clusters were there?
Yeah, this the story. I came back in '98 to Leuven. We had a fantastic team. We built up the team. We did a lot of work. We worked day and night, Saturdays and Sundays, blah blah blah. And I think 2005, 2006, the National Bank of Belgium called me. Mr. Hinoul, we like to give you an engineer for a year, free of charge. You can have him. What I'm going to do with that guy? Please take him. So there he is, an MBA, sure, MBA, foreign guy. I said, in fact, I have no job for you. You come for 1 year. I'm not willing to lose my time with him. I said, what you do is, get out of the office, see all the Leuven companies, all of them, and make me a passport of them. So the guy comes back. I didn't see him for half a year or so. And he came back with these slides, the previous one for Leuven. He said, Mr. Hinoul, you have clusters. I said, cluster, come on. I didn't know what a cluster was. I didn't know. I know, but that we had clusters we were not aware of. We were not aware of. So very proud. Now we could say, well, we have a cluster in feed food health, we have a cluster in mechatronics, we have a cluster. Suddenly complete other language. Very similar for the platforms, the technology platforms. We were not aware that we could create them. Once we knew, we made them, and we became enormous powerful. Good. Cluster 2, next. Life science medical, and the next is food and nutrition. 3 brilliant clusters with the best things you can get in this world. as good as the Americans. Next. I'll give you an example. This is IMEC. This is Fraunhofer in Germany, in Aachen, and Philips. This is ASML in Veldhoven, Eindhoven. Yeah? Next. These guys in the corners, in Aachen they did some work. In Leuven they did work. In ASML they did work. Next please. What you see here is quite interesting and quite important. The electronic industry, how big is it? 2,000 billion, whatever that is. For me that's too big. The chip making industry is 300 billion. That's fine, I'm not interested. The lithography equipment, most important machine in the processing of chips, is 10 billion. Wow, now we are interested. That's a figure which we can handle a little bit. And then you come to the source. Here is the source in that machine. This is the machine, the lithography machine. This is the source to scribe on the wafers. It's $1 billion business. Next, please. There is a machine. 150 million for a system. 150 million euro. You have to see it to believe it. The technology is just amazing. Now we take the source. The next one. There is the source. This is a machine working in extreme ultraviolet. 13.5 nanometer for the experts here. 13 is a source comes out. Next, please. There it is. This is the most beautiful piece of technology I've seen in my life. This is the top of the top, which you bring together in one machine, in one machine, which has to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every week. And the wafers, which we describe on, now the beam is constant, of course, and the wafer moves. That machine prints 100 million transistors per second. 100 million transistors per second. If you can catch that. Precision of the table and micron. Acceleration of 3G. Next. There it is, the machine. I love the machine. This is unique. Next. There it is. Next, please. This is IMEC consortium. All the semiconductor industry companies are there. The guys who make the chips. Intel, Panasonic, Samsung, TSMC. All the guys who make the machines are there. And all the guys in materials, whatever that is, are there. This is a unique consortium. Everybody in the chip business is in Leuven. Everybody. You will find guys who are sitting there in the restaurant, the guys from Intel, the guys from Samsung, the guys from TSMC, the guys from KLA. That's not. We brought it together in those buildings. We are building all the time. Now there is a huge tower which we set up. And now we are building a new clean room to handle those famous wafers. And the new clean room is 1 billion euro. Only 1 billion euro for one machine. For one clean room. Next. I think we are a high-tech region, the ELAB. You see, in high-tech systems and materials, we have roughly 300,000 jobs. In food, roughly 200,000 jobs. In life sciences, biotech, 42. So in total, 520,000 jobs in that triangle. At the corners. In the middle is nothing. It's still very rural. Next. This is my dream. Today, with the 6 million people, 2.9 are active, roughly 64% of the population.
I'm sorry to interrupt, coming back to the previous slide, I would like to comment on the figures of
Yes.
topology value in comparison to young figures.
Yeah, that is this total added value per employee. If you see 300,000 people doing 20 billion.
With Europe on average 20,000 per person.
Yeah, so you have not to wait for which direction.
Выручка на человека на рабочее место в том, что они построили, вот она в нижних ячейках в таблице. В среднем на этих 500 тысяч созданных рабочих мест это 61 тысяча евро на человека в год. В среднем по Европе это 20 тысяч человек в год.
Немножечко добавленная стоимость, да?
Но это удельный ВРП. ВРП на человека. Ну, как бы выручен в данном случае. И, например, по Ульяновску мы с министром экономики Асмусом посчитали позавчера эту цифру. И в Ульяновске это около 5000 евро на человека.
And now the dream. Next, please. My dream is today we have 500,000 of these high added value jobs. On the 2.9 people, that is roughly 1 out of every 5 of the active population is a high added value jobs. It's hard to believe. In Silicon Valley it's of course 1 on 3 or so. Cambridge is 1 on 4. So my dream is bring it to 1 on 4. Every 4 jobs, 1 should be high added value. If you can do that, you bring it to 700,000. That means if we do more and more and more R&D, it just doesn't come on our plate like that. We have to work on it, we have to make them. Then you get an extra economic growth of 2%. Wow, that is a lot. Suppose we grow normally 3%, then we will grow in that region 5%. That's much better than the Americans, that's much better than the Chinese, that's much better than anybody in that region. And I'm only interested in my region. An egoist. Next. So we did that for Elat, Eindhoven, Leuven, Aken. And then I had to go to a conference in Wageningen, in the Netherlands. Maybe it's on the next slide, maybe. Yeah, there it is. I met 2 strange guys in Wageningen, that's north of the Netherlands. This was my friend in Cambridge, Alan, dear friend. Remarkable man, he knows Cambridge in and out. And then we met that young guy there, he's a German guy from Italian roots, so he's a very special guy. Christian Tidona, eh? Yeah, I've never seen a man like him. He has energy like the whole room here together. Huh? And he lives in Heidelberg. And we met on that conference, we came in very late, we had delay with planes and what is it? And of course we drank beer in that stupid cafe in the Netherlands, and they have lousy beer, as you know, we call it cold water, they cannot make beer. Nevertheless, we drank beer, and we said, let's do something together. So the next. We said Heidelberg, fantastic university, 1386, we from 1425, Cambridge from 1209. Can you believe 2,000 years of knowledge? 2,000 years of knowledge. Nobody in the world can show that. Your universities are 200 years old, huh? Together. We said, that is an interesting combination. Next. Cambridge, fantastic, eh? Even Bill Gates buildings and you name it. Sorry, go back one. They wrote that remarkable book a couple of years ago. They were 50 years old. The Cambridge phenomena, 50 years of innovation entrepreneurs. They started earlier than we in Leuven. The book is written, the foreword by Bill Gates, of course, and the book is written by Charles Cotton, a very dear friend of mine. The next, we brought in Leuven, and you see the new tower from IMEC, phenomenal. The next, we brought in Heidelberg, best cancer institute, the best this, the best that, Nobel Prizes. The next, and we said, okay, that's one X. Cambridge, Leuven, Heidelberg, we made a nice logo. Next. And there you see it on the map. Cambridge, Barcelona, we, Leuven. One beautiful X. And we said life science, life science, life science. Next. We signed the Constitution in 2011. This was the rector at that time, Professor Waar, phenomenal man. He's one of the top leading figures in what we call a transplant mechanism. And we discussed that while I was here somewhere. He's one of the top people. And big shots sitting there and signing the contract. Next please. And then we had a lot of champagne, believe me. Important was that the 3 places have very distinct qualities. Internationally outstanding universities, that's one. Excellent health sciences and strong tradition in top education and research. That were the basic conditions, yeah? And we had them. A substantial health industry basis, we had it, certainly Heidelberg. driven by strong key individuals. Again, I like strong individuals. Personally committed to do it. Economic growth plan. Then special expertise and complementary. There we go. It should be complementary. If not, what are we going to do together? So these three directions were there. We said, let's do it. The next, please. Yeah, then the Dutch, a little bit further, they saw us and they said, but, can we join the club, blah, blah, blah. And at a given time, we brought in Brightlands. That's a new cluster in the Netherlands, very strong. It's Camelot, huge campus, 600 million, and Maastricht Healthcare. They formed Brightland, and we brought them in. The next. There they are. So maybe we put Ульяновск.
You should probably check other cities here and there. Maybe there is something relevant there.
At this very moment, we are talking with Israel. That's not on that line, huh? But we have very good feelings that we will sign up with probably Weizmann Institute, one of the best institutes in the world. Driven by a director, Daniel Zeifman, a Belgian, by the way, lived 20 years in Belgium. It's one of the best scientific institutes which I know. And if I'm sitting together with Daniel Zeifman, and I say, Daniel, how do you bring in your people? I said, that's easy. The brains. They should be good. I think he puts them 10 times to the spectrometer, to the NMR. Are they good? Good brains. Are they curious? Can they communicate well? Because a good scientist, that's fine, but can he communicate it into the world? And there's a fourth party, Dennis Helmy.
No Nobel Prize.
No. But very good brains, very communicative, very curious. Oh yeah, for this passion. If not, you're not coming in this group. The next, there you see them now, third, Maastricht, very young, like your university. So it is a little bit more than 2,000 years now. I have to change that figure. But this is now what we put on the map. And believe me, this is one of the most powerful life science axes in Europe and maybe in the world. Next. And there we signed it a couple of months ago in June. We were in Heidelberg. And this is the boss from Maastricht campus, Jan Kees Dunning. This is Martijn Hul. This is the boss from Maastricht. Fantastic man, professor from Heidelberg, but worked for his whole life in Stanford, now in Maastricht. Famous guy from Stefan Mauer from Germany. And this is the guy from Camelot, Bert Kipp. Wow, we were very proud that we could sign that contract. Next. That's it. Voilà.